This is a penny. It is worth 1 cent. 100 of these make $1. Some people might think that a penny isn't worth very much at all. Well, it is a small coin, but I could make it bigger. Let's see what happens if I rub it like this. I can make it bigger. I can actually make it smaller if you like. Not sure if that would work well or not. Let's try it. How small can I get that? So small you can't see it because it's invisible. There are a lot of things in our world that is invisible. Just look at the air around us. Can you see the air? Well, we can't see the air because it's invisible. But the air does exist. We know that because we feel wind, and wind is just moving air. But what is air? Our air is made up of mostly two elements: nitrogen and oxygen. Let's look at those on the periodic table of elements. As you can see, there is nitrogen and oxygen circled. It spells the word no. So I always joke that no is in the air. And when my mom would tell me no, I couldn't stay up later, or no, I couldn't have ice cream, I figured it was just in the air. Nitrogen and oxygen is in the air. That's 90%. Here's another graph. Look at this one. So this shows 78% of the air is nitrogen and 21% is oxygen. So we breathe oxygen. I'll have kids ask me, well, do we breathe nitrogen too? Well, yes, nitrogen does come in when we breathe the oxygen, but it just expels it. Our body doesn't need the nitrogen, so it just gets rid of it. But what else it gets rid of is carbon dioxide. Our oxygen comes into our bodies combined with carbon in our body, which comes from the glucose. Glucose is a kind of sugar, and it has carbon and hydrogen and oxygen in it. So the carbon in the glucose combines with our oxygen, and we breathe out the carbon dioxide, which the trees need. Here's a great demonstration you can do to show that there is an atmosphere. All you need is a paper towel tube, a piece of stick like a dowel rod, only has to be maybe 3 or 4 feet long, and some newspaper. Set the dowel rod on a table. This would be best if you're outside or just away from lots of other things. Set the dowel rod so it sets halfway off. Take the sheet of newspaper, fold it up, and set it on the table on top of the dowel rod. Take your paper towel tube and hit the end of the stick that's off the table. Make sure people are away from you and you stand clear yourself, and let's see what happens. Wow. Now let's do that again. Okay, this time we will do the same thing. Set the dowel rod on the table so half of it is off. Take the sheet of newspaper and this time open it up and lay it on the table on top of the dowel rod. Now take your cardboard tube. Nope, not yet. Doesn't really move much, does it? So when the newspaper was folded up, only this amount of area had atmosphere. So it could easily fly up in the air. When you open the newspaper up like this and lay it out, now there's a whole lot more atmosphere holding it down. And that's why it was harder to move the newspaper. I love making animal balloons. I do it at parties and a lot of events. When I do magic shows, I'll also do balloon animals for many of the events. So the question is, what's inside the balloon? Well, it's a gas. What kind of gas? Do you know what kind of gas is in the balloon? Some people will just say, oh, it's air. No, it's not the same air as around me right now. What is it? Who knows? Yell it out. I heard someone say it. Carbon dioxide. That's what we breathe out. We breathe in oxygen. Comes into our body, combines with the carbon that's in our body from the glucose, which is a type of sugar. And that carbon combines with those two oxygens that we breathe in. Comes out to be a C and two O's, that's carbon dioxide. And it goes, the trees love it. The plants need the carbon dioxide. We need the oxygen. We have a great connection with plants because they provide us the oxygen and we provide them the carbon dioxide. So be nice to the plants. And here is carbon dioxide because I blew it up. I blew it up with my own breath. So it is a carbon dioxide. Oh, look at that. That's the head and the ears and the front feet and the back feet. And there's a little doggy. Settle down, boy. Settle down. Oh, you have to, okay. It's got to go potty. Okay. You can have a lot of fun with our atmosphere, that invisible gas. You can make parachutes, 2 different sizes, and then see how they react in the atmosphere. Here's how you make the parachutes. Watch this. So here's the 2 different size parachutes. Here's the one that's the 12-inch by 12-inch square, and this is the 6 by 6-inch square. Let's see the difference. Take a parachute, carefully fold the parachute a couple of times like that. Gather the weight in the string. Do the same for the other one. Fold it just a couple times, not very much. And then throw them both up in the air at the same time. See which one comes down first and which one takes longer. The one that takes longer is probably the parachute that you'd want. If 99% of the air is nitrogen and oxygen, what's the other 1%? Well, let's take a quick look at the periodic table of elements. The right side are the noble gases. They're called noble gases because they don't react with any other element. Noble meaning that, like, kings and queens are noble and they would not fraternize with the peasants. So that's where that word comes from, the noble gases. Helium and neon and argon. And argon is the element that is mostly that 1% of the air. But what else is it besides argon? Well, then there's water vapor and there's carbon dioxide and there's some other trace elements. There's also pollen in the air. And it seems like that's probably a small number, but compared to the amount of atmosphere we have, it's a big number still. Gases can be very helpful. Not that kind of gas, buddy.
Sorry, excuse me.
Can't take him anywhere. See you in the next video.